Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. I want to thank all our supporters who continue to help us stay on the air. I'm looking at a lovely spring day here in the Pacific Northwest. I'm looking at snow-capped mountains, blue skies, daffodils, and all. This is a vindicating day. We stay in the winter, but we get days like this, and this like kind of like as the kids say, it just make us happy. I mean, it's sometimes you just got to be happy and just be all right with being happy. Let your cup of happiness float, just overflow. Got a couple announcements here. One is that Mother's Police Accountability meeting is this Wednesday from 6 to 7:30 at 1405 24th Avenue in Seattle, 98122. It's at the Liberty Bank apartment buildings, a community room. And our topic is going to be continuing what does community safety look like? Another announcement is that the 2023 KKNW listener survey is available. You can go to the website at www.1150kknw.com and take the survey. It's really important. You take the survey and say all the good things that's necessary. This is how the station can make better decisions and all of that. And I hope you can put a good plug in for mothers there too also. All right. So, hey, this is our last Monday of this month. Wow, didn't it go fast? We had 5 Mondays. Wow, gee, that's a lot. That's a lot of programming. one more Monday here. April does not have 5, but Mondays, but May does because you got Memorial Day. So I want to just talk a little before I bring my guest on. It's going to be Miss Frances Oliver down in Sanford, Florida. We're going to be talking about the governor and what's happening in Florida, because Florida might wind up being a bellwether state, especially around issues around African Americans. So we need to pay attention to Florida. She'll be coming on a little later. But first up is still Women History Month, and I want to talk a little bit about Shirley Chisholm. She was unbought and unbossed. She became the first African American woman to win a seat in Congress. I mean, she was something else. I mean, she just didn't take any stuff. She just actually just did her thing. And then she also had the gall and the courage to run for the United States president nomination in 1975. That was before Jesse Jackson ever ran. She was the first African American woman to run. She did not get the party. She did not get the Democratic nomination, but she ran, and she got issues out there at that time. I moved to Seattle in 1975. So I probably wasn't paying that much of attention. I just had a little, I had a little guy. Yeah, I had 4 children and a baby that was 6 months old. So I probably wasn't paying that much attention that I might have been. I should have, but I wasn't. So, but I know she did come to Seattle, and she was really instrumental in empowering women, not only Black women but also white women. And she was the boss in New York City, though, really and truly. And she did her thing in Congress. And these are women whose shoulders we stand on, who came before us and had great courage to stand up in America. It takes a lot of courage to stand up. I mean, it does. I mean, because what you might want to stand up in might not be popular. I mean, because Mothers Against Police Harassment wasn't. I mean, it was popular in certain areas, but the name just kind of like turned people off. But sometimes you just have to have courage to do what's right, because you want to be on the right side of history. And I'll say that Shirley Chisholm was on the right side of history, and I'm inspired by her and the work that she did, and all the young women that she inspired to come behind her, to be able to stand up, to run for Congress. I mean, and run for public office, because sometimes you don't win the first time out. Sometimes you got to try it again. And a lot of my listeners might be wondering, what happened to Mr. Rye? Well, Mr. Rye was coming on for often. He will be coming on here probably next Monday. I'll probably give him on, because it soon will be the anniversary, the commemoration of the date that Martin Luther King was murdered. in 1968, April 4th, 1968. And I know that the King County Council coalition, that King County coalition that Mr. Rye is involved with, always puts on an event. So he'll probably come on and talk about the event that's going to be going on August 4th, which is actually next Wednesday, I believe. Next Tuesday is, wow. It's August. I mean, it's the commemoration of the assassination and the murder of Dr. Martin Luther King. So our history is one that's webbed. It's up and down. Our history is. We have we have a history that gives us joy, and then we have history that gives us sadness. And so, talking about Shirley Chisholm as the first African American woman in Congress, and also the first African American woman to run for the United States president in 1975. I mean, that took a lot of courage. But I mean, she was boss anyway. She had a lot of courage, and I've heard her voice. I mean, and I don't know if she came to Seattle or not. I'm not sure about that, but I don't know that she's also. You have the. It's another organization that she started for women also to be involved with politics, and I'll have to get that name of that organization. So when I bring her name up again, I'll have everything I need to talk about her. But one thing I want to talk about before I bring my guests on is I went to find out what's going on across the country. Got a call out of the blue yesterday from a pastor named Pastor Diane Lewis out of Akron, Ohio. It's a grand jury going on right now, and they're setting up a community oversight commission there, and they're appointing people. She's one of the people that's going to appoint it. It doesn't have a lot of power, but it's a start. A young man named Jalen Walker was killed July 27th, 2022. They shot at him 90 times and 46 bullets hit his body. The grand jury is still out yet, but the police officers, the 9 officers, are already back to work. So if they're already back to work, I guess it was 8 police officers, and the grand jury has not even announced what the findings are, what the finding will be. So that's kind of like, wow, let me kind of know that maybe they already know something, because these guys are back to work already. And that seems to be a problem, a real problem. At least in Memphis, the police officers got fired. I mean, and that's how it should have been. They should have gotten fired there in Memphis, and also with this case. But might be an impulsive shooting. I guess he didn't stop his car, and then it was a chase, and then they got out and he ran. And I presume that they shot him in the back, because he didn't shoot back at police officers. All the bullets went one way. And so I guess every officer just kind of unloaded all of the chambers in the young man. So I think he was 25. And I think the population there of Black people in Akron, Ohio is about 40%. They didn't invite the Department of Justice out, and they thought that they might be able to get some other action going, but they gave them they gave them an idea and a model in how to set up a template on how to set up a community oversight committee. So anyway, I'm going to get her on my show. I talked to her yesterday, like since she called me out of the blue, and so we will get her on Mother's Justice show soon, because they have to have all the appointments made by the 29th. And it got pretty good structure, though. It's going to be 3 appointed by the mayor and 6 appointed by the city council. So the 6 appointed by the city council will always have the most votes. And anyway, I think that's going to be interesting. But they just make recommendations and maybe bring information to the community. It does not have a lot of teeth in it. Most of these don't have a lot of teeth in it. But I guess it's a step in the right direction. But one of the things we talked about is that maybe the last final thing that Black people can do is just boycott, just take our money out of the system. I mean, all it would take would be like 8 months to take it, but don't ever take it back. I mean, that's what happens in Montgomery boycott, is that they stayed off the buses over 300 and almost 300 over a year, not riding, not riding the buses. But when the bus boycott ended and they could get on the bus and sit in where they want to, they took their money back downtown. And the area where the bus boycott begun, which is like old Montgomery now, it's not developed. And my stepmother, who passed away, who lived in Montgomery, on the same property that she was born on, she said that the buses never came back, and so the transportation in that area, people never had an upward mobility, but they took their money back downtown. See, so if we ever do a national boycott again, a regional or a local boycott, you can't take your money back down there. Wherever you do, you just can't do it, because they're going to come back and continue doing the same thing. So anyway, that's some update on that piece. I had one more update here. In Virginia, 7 deputies and 3 hospital workers have been charged with a crime. The grand jury came back and charged them in manslaughter. Charged them in the death of the young man. His name was like Ivo, and his last name was Otieno. And I guess he was having a mental health crisis. He had gone to the local hospital, and then they was taking him and transporting him to the psychiatric hospital there in Virginia. And he had just, I guess he did some kind of gyration. He couldn't do too much. Let me be clear. He was handcuffed, and he had leg irons on. He was chained down, so he could barely walk. So he fell. I mean, they piled on him and they smothered him to death. Benjamin Crump is on this case also. So they're all being charged with the crime. I mean, rightfully so. So 7 deputies and 3 hospital workers. He was handcuffed and wearing shackles. Not a threat. I don't know how you could be handcuffed with shackles and wind up dead. I mean, now that's just really a plain mystery. Okay, and then they all piled on it. So they smothered him to death. And his mother was saying he needed mental treatment. And there's a double standard, though. I mean, most Black people don't have any way to be crazy in America. It's no place for us to have a mental illness breakdown. Because we're not supposed to be humans. Only humans have human breakdowns. We're not looked at as human beings. So that's not anything that's afforded to us. So again, I want to remind you about Mother's meeting on Wednesday, the 29th at 6 to 7:30 at the Liberty Bank apartment building, community room on 24th Avenue. 98122, that's 24th and Union, in the community room. And what does community safety look like for African Americans? I mean, we have 2 important things that we have to work on. We have the issues around police brutality and harming us, but we also have issues in our own community about people who look like us harming us. And so how are we going to wed those 2 issues? I really, really don't know. But I think the time is coming for us to really have that conversation and be courageous. It's going to take a lot of courageous people to write what's going on in our community. I mean, and be all right with that. Because you know what? We've had 300 years of being seasoned. It's been 160 years now after Lincoln signed the paper. And all the rights that we fought for has been really watered down. I mean, the affirmative action never really did happen in the way we thought it was going to happen. But also, just going back to Brown versus the Board of Education, that it was about having equal facilities, never about integrating. It was about equal facilities. If you read the law, and in fact, I met Jeff Robertson the other day at a conference at CLU, and I mentioned that to him, and he said, "Yeah, it was not. It was about about equal facilities." And instead of giving us equal facilities, they decided to close all of the Black schools and bus the Black kids to the other kids. And so these things of equality, it just has never happened. And so you look at what we've gone through, and now people can talk about trauma and mental illness. Well, That was not on the table when I graduated from high school. Nobody even knew the word trauma. It wasn't even part of the lexicon. So time has really changed in a lot of ways. But nobody has ever, except for you got some Black psychologists out there, you got Dr. Risha Day, and she's doing work about the ancestor healing and trying to heal some of this energy and ideas that actually was handed down. I mean, and now science has said now that trauma is handed down through the placenta. So that means that we got a lot of stuff that was handed down through the placenta. We had 670,000 mixed race babies that was born during slavery. All of that was under duress. And then all of the lynching that started after they disbanded the North Carolina and the South Carolina militias, Black militias, that was organized after the Civil War. Because remember, we had 10 years of Reconstruction. Now we had a little bit about 45 years, and now they're trying to take that back. Those 10 years of Reconstruction, people had to have their own protection, and they did. And then they disbanded those militias and confiscated those weapons. And that's when the birth of the Klan came. The birth of the Klan, it was no Ku Klux Klan as long as Black people was armed in the South, armed in the South. And also, I'm going to go back and research about the amount of violence that they had after coming out of the first pandemic. I know it was not as many guns in circulation like it is today. But also, I mean, after the pandemic, the first pandemic came, Bonnie and Clyde and the Mafia. And that's when I think they got going really good in the 20s. And then you had the crash at the end of the 1920s. So anyway, I'm going to research that because I'm interested in the escalation of violence after this pandemic and compare that to 1918, 1919, and 1920. But of course, you didn't have as many guns. And, they wanted to limit the amount of guns that Black people had in those days just because they were afraid that we were going to kill them. But that was not the case. So I want to just spend 2 more minutes here, and I want to talk about spring, what lifts me up. Because when you're doing this work that I've been doing for 33 years, who'd have believed it? Oh my God. Gee whiz, how time flies. It hasn't all been fun, but I've met a lot of people along the way, a lot of people. But what lifts me up and keeps my spirit going is my spirituality, the virtues. I do the virtues, but also spring. It is something about spring, and especially when I can see a daffodil. It's like the sign of eternity. And it's like I made it through winter, because we all know a lot of folks that we've known in every city didn't make it through winter. And so spring is here. And in Washington State, in Western Washington, there's the tulips that grows up in Mount Vernon. And it's beautiful to see the tulips. I never saw that. I thought that I'd see that outside of a National Geographic magazine when I was a kid. But they're lovely, and I haven't gone up in a couple of years, so I do plan to go up, and I'll just talk about it when after I come back and going to visit the tulips. You'll always remember the tulips. So enjoy spring. Go out, do something lovely for yourself or somebody else. Make a spring card like a kid and send it to somebody you love. Just do something different. I mean, it's a different season now, and we can be different in the world. So be good to other people also. We'll take a break right now and come back with our guests. You listen to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm the host, Reverend Walden. We'll be right back.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
Hi, this is Dr. K. Mahina Intron, inviting you to tune in on Mondays on 1150 KKNW at 5 p.m. to Dr. K's Attuning to Your Abundance, where we honor everyday abundance through positive messages, poetry, music, affirmations, and writing exercises. For more information, contact Dr. K Workshops at gmail.com or Facebook, Dr. K's Abundance.
Hi, this is Eric Ryder, Operations Manager for 1150 AM KKNW. We value your opinion and invite you to 1150kknw.com to fill out the 2023 KKNW Listener Survey. Your responses help us to shape KKNW to your listening needs. As an added incentive, when you fill out the survey, you'll have a chance to win an awesome prize. Complete contest details and your opportunity to help us shape this station can be found at 1150kknw.com.
All right, you listen to the Mothers Justice Show at 1150 AM KKNW. Thank you, Eric, for that long one. We needed that one. We got our guest now, Miss Frances Oliver down in Florida. She had something else was going on, and so she's here. Hey, Miss Frances, Miss Oliver, how you doing? Yeah, so she's getting on here, and she looks like she's springing and ready to go, and she's getting that ready in just a few minutes here. Sometimes technology just kind of like does its own thing. And that's the one thing about technology. It does its own thing. Somebody says it has a mind of its own. So we'll just give her a few minutes here while I talk about spring a little bit more. But she's definitely just about on here. So anyway, and she's a civil rights icon herself down in Florida. Done a lot of work on civil rights and still doing the work now. That's exactly what she's still doing. Right. Well, that's right. While we're waiting for Ms. Frances to come on, KKNW is doing a listener survey. And you get a chance to go in there on 1150 on the website. It's www.1150kknw.com and take the listener survey. Please do that. I think it would be very informative. And also, all those, if you can, if you listen to the Mother's Show, let them know and what you like. So anyway, our show is about justice. And so I want to just go ahead and want you to do that. And it's going from this Monday all the way to the last Monday in April. So, okay. How's that? Take care. Make sure you do that. All right. I think my guest is ready. Hi, Miss Frances.
Hi, Harriet. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it looked like you've already had a very eventful day, but we were calling that, we were going to be talking about your governor and all this happening in Florida because it's an issue for all the descendants of the enslaved human beings, not the immigrants, because they might not understand that it's for them too, but they don't understand. I mean, because we're in the Constitution.
That's right.
The only one, and also in 1929, they amended the Constitution also, I think, to bring the Native Americans in as citizens also. But, they're sovereign, still a sovereign nation. But everybody else, there's no other people in the Constitution but us.
Exactly.
3/5, what was that? 3/5 of a human being? What was that?
Yes.
We were there, and then we were down the 13th and 14th Amendment. See? Yeah.
And with the 13th Amendment, if you're arrested or incarcerated, then you still are not considered as a citizen.
That's right. And that's why they made more crimes felonies, because a misdemeanor didn't take away your rights to be a citizen, but a felony did. And they went in and they made a lot of crimes to be felonies that used to have been misdemeanors before. Again, because what we didn't know, it's not what you know, it's what you don't know that harms you. What we didn't know is that a lot of people out there, committing crimes and getting all these felonies, then you have to get your rights back. Now, Washington State gives you your rights back after you come out of prison, and you can apply, and all your obligations are met. You get your citizenship right back. So we have a lot of Black people disenfranchised in the country that they were born in, that it made them to be a citizen, and now they disenfranchised, because of criminal activity. You're right about that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I got a text yesterday from Florida Rising. Of course, I had heard of it. I'm part of that organization, and the Ethics Committee of the state of Florida is investigating all of our supervised elections office because of what they did after the 22 election. they pulled everybody who had were on the record as a absentee ballot voter.
Boy.
So if you got in Florida, if you want to vote absentee in the 2024 election, you got to go back and register for an absentee ballot.
Well, all of this is voter suppression. In Washington State, once you become now we all mail-in ballot. I mean, that's for the state. But before that, once you requested an absentee ballot, it came to you until you requested that you didn't want it anymore.
Exactly. That's the way it was. Yep, that's the way it was before 2022 in Florida.
Yeah. Well, Florida is going to be the place where the wake up comes from. I do believe that. Because everything that Florida is doing now, it's absolutely want to take us back to the 50s. Everything. And everything. Because in the 50s, you couldn't vote. I mean, there was no voting. I mean, because, people lost their lives in Florida trying to register people to vote.
Yes.
And so what we see in Florida, that's why I want people across the nation who's listening to my show to understand that Florida might be a bellwether state going the other way. Washington State, California, Wisconsin, and Connecticut are bellwether states. Whatever usually laws are passed here, usually are passed across the nation. Florida might be a bellwether state going in the opposite direction and taking away rights for people. And that's why people need to pay attention to Florida, because a lot of the people who don't like us and wish we weren't alive now moving to Florida. And they're moving in groves of Florida. And so that's why I wanted you on to just kind of like let's kind of lay it out for the people across the country, and also for the people. But also, what Florida does. I'm gonna have to say a couple of things, and then I'm gonna let you have the floor. I mean, affirmative action actually did not. What affirmative action did, it gave a few Black people out of millions. I mean, I'm just going to say it this way. Some Black people got some good jobs. Most Black people did not, because they wasn't educated at the level to get the jobs. But also a lot of people who got the good jobs, they stopped being civil rights activists or a person, because they had a boat and they don't want to rock that boat. I mean, So like you talked about in Florida, so many people don't come out the boat. I mean, so many people don't participate because they think they think they're protecting their little piece of the pie. But what they don't understand about America, everything in the system is redundant. Just because they gave you something 40 years ago, don't think they're trying not. Let Roe v. Wade be the example in your head. I mean, because that was established case law.
That's right.
And they brought that one to show us something, and to understand. I mean, when they brought abortions on. When they passed the law, they thought really that there would be a lot of us not here. Do you think they would be crying if a lot of Black babies was being aborted today? I mean, nobody. No. I mean, nobody would be crying for Black babies. Okay. I mean, the count is down for white babies.
Yes,
that's the problem. And the truth be told, if the white count was up, nobody they wouldn't try to overturn Roe v. Wade.
Nope.
But the president has been set case law in our lifetime twice, because we old enough to know. We remember when it came on. It didn't bother me because I was bad, I mean, I wasn't caught up in that at all. And I know a lot of women was dying and those kinds of things. But now here we are again, and we're several decades older, and the case law has been established in our face that they overturned the law that was established law. And that's why what we're talking about and what you want to get the word out is real important about Florida. And Florida might be a bellwether state.
Yes. And another thing, Harriet, a lot of people don't really realize until they come to Florida and don't see very many Black people that we're only 15% of the population.
Man, hey, that's a real switch compared to what it was when we graduated in 1963.
We were less in the 60s, we were less populated. We were less than the population. Yes, we were when I ran for school board in 1976. And at that time, we were only 10% of the population.
Well, really? Well, I guess because we lived around, because our community was all black, I thought the world was black. Well,
no.
We lift every voice and sing every day. Why wouldn't I think the world was black? And Mama didn't want no TV.
That's what we thought.
We didn't have no television in our house because she wouldn't allow it. She only read the black papers. So I must have thought we had way more population than that.
That's right. And we went to town on the weekends when all blacks went to town. Yeah. And we didn't see any white folks because we went to school with black people. We went to church with black people, and we went shopping. We went shopping on special Christmas, Easter, and Thanksgiving and New Year's. And that's when all the black people were going shopping. And so we did. We thought everything.
We thought the world was black, Francis.
That's right.
We did. All we did, we sung, lift every voice and sing everywhere we went. We just knew we lived in a black world.
That's right. And this is why we are calling for marchers. We're calling for letter writers. We're calling for anyone that feel like they want to help us out in Florida. And if you are in Florida and you can get in contact with the state NAACP and check and see if there's a march that day. And maybe you can donate an hour to march if you're in Florida, because we're going to Tallahassee Wednesday. There will be a march almost every day until after this legislation is over.
Okay, so when does the legislation start? When do they go?
They already in up in Tallahassee now. The lawmakers are already there now, and they close this session May 29th.
Okay,
and
so
they've already made up their mind what they're gonna vote, how they gonna vote.
Oh yeah, because they smug. They got the votes. Mm-hmm. One thing I know about life: you never put a motion on the floor that you ain't got the votes for. So same way. Well,
Sanders made sure he had the votes for every one of his bills, and that's why our supervisor of election offices are so messed up. He made sure that the people that they put in, when I say they, I mean Trump, DeSantis, and the Republican Party.
Well, okay. Wow. And so when is the first day of the march?
Oh, we marched. I was in Tallahassee about 2 weeks ago. We marched about 2 weeks ago, and I'll be in Tallahassee Wednesday, and then there's another march. The 6-day march is 6 days. No, it's 3 days. And then we're going to march from Quincy, Georgia. It's a Quincy, Florida. Is it Quincy, Florida, Quincy, Georgia?
Florida. Anyway, it's a Quincy, Florida.
Okay, we're going to march
We're
going to march from Quincy, Florida to Tallahassee. And I think it's like 21 miles.
Wow. Well, Francis, did you ever think we'd see this again?
No.
No.
It's almost like I'm going right back through the 60s again. At my age, I should not be out there marching. But in the 60s, I was a college student marching because our parents couldn't march because they would lose their job, they would be harassed and everything else. So the college kids march. Now I'm almost 80, and I'm marching again because my children can't get out there and march because they're afraid of losing their jobs or being harassed.
Well, and also we're marching for the generations unborn, Francis, because if we don't win this, our great grand and great grandchildren will be born back in Jim Crow. I mean, really, that's really what this is about. This really is about our.
That's right. They're headed back to Jim Crow on a fast train.
On a fast track. But we're going to have to derail this guy because I'm looking to find out, when did his ancestors come to America? When did DeSantis get to America? We have to start talking about how long we've been here. I mean, really and truly, we got to change the narrative. And I'm looking to find out, when does his ancestors come to America? and what boat they came on, because he hasn't been, he might have been born here, but his ancestors weren't born here. And they were not here before the Civil War. We've been here since
Italian. He's Italian, isn't he?
Yeah, he's Italian. I came from Italy, but we've been here since the Civil War.
Yes.
And we have to change the narrative on this stuff, because all these new people come and think they've been here longer than us and still want to boss us around. But I'm interested in listening and finding the Southern strategy, because it's been a strategy ever since Johnson signed the Civil Rights Bill to take back everything. Because they refuse to integrate. I mean, that's why they have all the Christian schools and the other schools, because they never wanted their kids to go to schools with Black kids. And for a fact, the 28,000 Black teachers lost their job when integration came in, and they never taught again. Yes. They never taught, but they came up with a strategy, and then they brought in special ed, because they said they didn't want the boys and the Black boys in the classroom with girls. I want to get my hand on that document to see how many of these things they have already achieved. Because they're teaching their children. They must be teaching their children this strategy, because their children are just as mean as the parents.
This new Jim Crow? The thing about this new Jim Crow, we knew who the old Jim Crow were. That was all the white people in the South. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but this new Jim Crow, we got like I said, we Blacks are only 15% of the population in Florida. Whites are 71%, and the rest of them are Hispanics and other races. So you don't know now. I don't think everybody in Florida belongs to some type of white supremacist group. I really don't. But you can't tell the difference, because you're working on the same job, you're going to the same school. It's like now, you don't even know who the enemies are.
Well, but also we know that during slavery, 50% of white women owned slaves in Florida. But also a lot of people don't have courage, because nobody wants to go down in history as a nigger lover. They don't. Yes. And so a lot of times they will not. They will stand back and watch somebody else get hurt before they speak up. Because we, the only people in America who fought for our own liberation. Okay, the Native Americans was fighting. They were fighting to maintain their sovereignty. Yes. But we fought. There's a different fight. They were fighting to maintain their sovereignty on the land that they already owned. We were fighting for freedom, for our own freedom on the land that we were transported to. Yes. And we fought for our own liberation. And I think we're going to have to tell these stories again, because I just don't think, integration has really dumbed down the education on purpose. To make sure that Black kids don't know who they are. And then they have all of this distraction that's going on and all of that stuff. But, let's take a break.
And Harriet, it has always been, from slavery till now, it's always been about education.
That's right.
Always. They didn't want us to read in slavery.
And they don't want us to read now.
And they don't want us to read now. It has always been about education.
Let's take a break here and come back and get some more of this good Florida talk. Listen to Mother's Justice Show. We can take a break. We'll be right back.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
I can't believe we have to make this commercial.
It's ridiculous.
You'll think it's ridiculous too. Listen to this.
This commercial is about, it's about parents being rude at high school athletic events.
Ridiculous, right?
It gets worse. Studies show more than 75% of new high school officials are quitting because of bad adult behavior.
So now there's a shortage of refs here in Washington, in almost all sports.
No officials means no more games.
Is that what you want for us?
Come on, parents.
It's time to grow up.
Cheer for your team.
Be proud of your children.
But stop being so ridiculous.
And don't make us run another commercial.
Because we will.
This message presented by the Washington Interscholastic Activities Association and the Washington State Secondary Athletic Administrators Association, reminding you to always practice good sportsmanship.
Don't let that herd mentality lead you off a cliff. We support thinking for yourself on Alternative Talk 1150.
Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on there on this wonderful spring day and want to bring my wonderful guest in, civil rights icon from Florida, Miss Frances Oliver. She's almost 80, but you know what? She sounds like she's 17. Come on, Frances. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, Frances. So what else you want to talk about? Tell me about the Divine Nine. What's that now?
The Divine Nine. That's Black fraternities and sororities.
Right.
Okay. Now, he has a bill that's called Congressional Bill 99. And that is to put some kind of legislature, some kind of thing about Black fraternities and sororities on state campuses. Okay.
Oh.
So if you go to, it might be, if this bill passed, it's gonna be sort of like the book bill. We made certain sororities and fraternities may be pulled out of state schools.
Well, what about the white sororities? They got white sororities.
Yep, they do, but they got white writers of books too, but they ain't pulling them out the schools.
Okay, well, this is a civil rights issue, so he's just racking them up. He's just racking it up, and Crump is our Benjamin Crump is our Thurgood Marshall of the day.
That's right.
He's just racking them up like they did in the 50s, really and truly. So now, because that's the educated elite, so it's okay because you got all the gang members locked up. Okay. So they're felons. When they get out, they can't go nowhere. They can't get a job, they can't get housing, so they're going back to prison. So we don't have to worry about them. But we got this educated elite who went to the finest schools and doing some fine work. I got a cousin down in Tampa. She's in the sorority, and I know they're gonna be on it. I don't know which one she's on, but she's highly organized in Tampa. Her name is Jocelyn Walden. I mean, she's related
Jocelyn and her mother. I know Jocelyn and her mother. Both are AKAs. They my Saras.
Okay, well, I know they own it because she's a little fireball. I haven't met her yet, but she's on it.
And you know what? I need to call her and ask her what are they doing down in Tampa? Because like I said, I don't hear very much of what any of the organizations are doing. I hear about the new organizations like Fraud Rising, Equal Grounds, the Dream Defenders, and all of these are young groups that have come up. When the college kids, when we were marching back in the 60s, we had Snook. Okay, well these are organizations that you would compare to Snook in the 60s. That Michael Carmichael led.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you give her a call then, because really, if they sleep on this, well, we absolutely back in Jim Crow, because they got the wherewithal, they got the education, they got the wit, they got the money, and they got the contacts. But
I'm gonna tell you something else, Harriet. He passed this bill in the last legislation about if you marching over 15, you could be arrested.
Oh, if you're marching over 15, you're how can you be arrested?
Just like they did in the 60s. They throw us in paddy wagons and put us in jail. If it's a group of more than 15.
Oh, if it's a group of more than 15. Well, you know what? You just get your church banner out there and say, hey, see if they're going to arrest, see how that's going to work out. I mean, he's giving these white people red meat because they're all racist, okay?
Yes.
And because they want the Negro back in this place.
That jail thing didn't stop us in the 60s. And that
it ain't gonna stop us now either. Because
it's not gonna stop us now.
You know what the Divine Nine got the power to do is to call a national boycott in Florida. Now they got that kind of clout, huh?
Yes.
They have that kind of clout.
And like I said, the NAACP back in the 70s was sued so many times until they take baby steps now. Because, they're not.
Yeah, you know what? And that's too bad. That's too bad because, these other people ain't taking no baby steps.
No,
they're
taking
not. Giant steps. You remember we used to play Mama May I? You remember we used to play that Mama May I and you take a giant step? Okay. These people are taking a giant step. And you know why they're so far ahead, Francis? Is because before affirmative action, we were the most organized group of people in America, in the world. We taught the world how to organize. And after affirmative action, people got good jobs and they stopped organizing. But guess what? These people took a page out of our book. They've been out there organizing now for 40 years, going on 45 years. They have not went home. We used to didn't go home. Our people now come out around when the police kill somebody, rightfully so, then they go home. But one thing I know about organizing, you have to organize during the ebb and during the flow. You don't go home. You don't go home, see. And that's what I learned coming out of segregation. I learned this, see. I learned this piece coming out of segregation. I really did.
You cannot compare Florida with any of the other black belt states.
No, you cannot
do it because they have already staked the cards against us. That's why we need, just like the black people went to Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Georgia, and got laws passed and put those people in office, we need the same help here in Florida.
Well, you calling out for help there in Florida, and Francis, I mean, I'm going to have you back on because we still got a few more minutes here. But also, Mississippi has passed some laws to put people back in Jim Crow. I'm going to go and research it, but I've heard that Mississippi put some more laws on the book. See, but see, one thing that our people have been so distracted, believing that all this stuff that they see on TV, all this stuff on TikTok, except for a few exceptions, and all these people picking up guns. I tell people every time a black man pick up a gun and hurt a black person, white man wins. Every time a black man go to jail, the white man. This is a chess game, and we have to understand this is a chess game, and we're at war. We've been at war here ever since Lincoln signed the paper. They've been figuring out and if oxygen.
Ever since Reconstruction.
And this is the end of the second Reconstruction, and that's what they're figuring out. Okay, Reconstruction lasted 10 years, and this is the end of it. But see, the young people sometimes don't want to hear us because they actually been brainwashed to think that everything is cool. It is not cool. It's not cool. And see,
another thing the young people have done, we weren't allowed to do, and our parents weren't allowed to do. That's borrow money and get in debt.
Well, that's right. Everything my grandmama always got, it was on. You know what? It was paid for when it came in the house.
My mama didn't even borrow a cup of sugar from the neighbors.
Right.
You see what? But now our children have borrowed the money to buy these big houses, luxury cars,
$30,000, $40,000 for a car. 30, all this money, and it ain't nothing. It's another way. See, integration.
So they stuck, and they at the white man's command. Because if you don't do it, I will take you.
That's right. Repossess.
I fix it where you don't have that house no more. You don't have that car no more.
That's right.
Especially in Florida, because like I said, we're 15% of the population.
Well, but also the other thing about integration, at the end of the day, every penny that we have go to somebody else because we've spent our money outside our community. And so it's economic development for everybody else except us. See, but we got some education to do. I mean, hey, us elders. Hey.
Yeah. Ain't nobody gonna turn me around, Harriet. I'm a march.
Ain't not gonna turn me around either. Hey, I mean, I sing Lift Every Voice and sing every day.
That's right.
7 days a week we sung wherever we want. We sung that song every day. And if people were sending their kids out the door with Lift Every Voice and sing every day, but when they got to school, they'd be somebody. They absolutely would be somebody because that song will put you on the right track. Well, I tell you,
the latest book they took out to schools was Rosa Parks.
Well, you know what? One thing, one thing we do need to do, we just need to start our own Saturday schools and teach our kids our history themselves. Because that's how we learned it. Nobody taught us Black history. We learned it ourselves from Black people.
That's right.
We learned our own history. Nobody taught us Black history. No pictures up around the world. I mean, we came out knowing Black history, what we did know. So now it's all it is, hey, what we also got to teach them is how to eat black-eyed peas and beans again.
That's right. That's
right.
But
Francis, united together we stand, okay? All
That's
right,
right.
that's right. That's right. Because
And y'all come to Florida. Y'all come to Florida and help us out.
All right. Well, then I'll get some more information from you, and I'll be announcing it on my show. Okay.
And we're gonna send out some GoFunds and some all this kind of stuff to right here in Sanford. We fighting for another district. We fighting for 6 districts. We still only got 4 districts. And we're gonna talk about that later.
Yeah, because time, next time I just bring you on to give you a whole hour. Well, listen, this is good. So you keep it up. My prayers are with you, your family, and everybody down there, because I'm always a Floridian, okay? I mean, hey.
Okay.
Okay, always. All right. You take care. Loving you. Good
and
to see you.
Thank you for spreading the news for us.
All right. I do my best I can. All right. You take care. Thank you.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. You listen to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. Remember, we're having our Mother's Justice meeting this Wednesday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at the Liberty Bank building at 1405 24th Avenue, 98122. Hope to see you there. See you next week. Take care. Have a good week.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.